Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Modern Divorce Podcast. Welcome to our post Super Bowl slash Valentine's episode. So, Emily, first, did you win any bets?
No, I didn't. I didn't win any of my squares either, but it was a good game.
Yeah, as long as you're entertained. So you won because you're entertained. Usually it's like the worst thing I think is like an unentertaining Super Bowl. I like the halftime show. I'm old enough to know who those
Me too.
people were. I know people who were born like in the 2000s. They don't know who Dr. Dre, the Eminem, Mary J Blige were. So I think I feel super old.
The show was like for our age.
Oh, okay. I do see a Mary J Blige kind of article here. So let's get to the show. So in this part of the show, we go over what's going on in divorce news. We look at Google. We see what the trends are. We see studies sometimes. So let's get into it. First article, because it's Super Bowl, post Super Bowl. So Mary J Blige went through a divorce. And it says here, this is according to Yahoo News, she goes, I couldn't pay my rent. So she revealed she had to go on tour to pay alimony following divorce. The weekend is bursting at the seams for singer Mary J. Blige. In addition to her performance at Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles, along Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, the Yonkers, Native dropped her 15th studio album, Good Morning Gorgeous. Okay, so I didn't know she had some new album out. So after performing the lead single from this project, Rent Money, a Vibe Jam with Harlem rapper Dave East, on an iHeart radio special with host Angie Martinez, she talked about the song's inspiration. She stated that the song was born out of her painful and very public divorce from Martin Isaacs, the queen of hip hop. Soul said, Rent Money is about when I first got divorced. I had to give up all this alimony and I didn't have any money to give because he had spent it all. She explained. So I had to go and, I had to go on tour and make all the money back to pay the alimony. She adds, I didn't have no money to pay my rent, all this other stuff. She continued, but it's also a metaphor. Like I didn't have my soul. I was just drained of everything. So it was time for somebody to pay. Sometimes just feel like somebody's gotta pay. So in 2017, Blige was ordered to pay $30,000 a month in alimony to her ex-husband. Originally, his lawyers requested quadruple the amount to help him sustain his lifestyle. Isaac claimed that he has experienced physical manifestations of stress and emotional distress with this matter, which has caused him to become hospitalized. So the singer's former manager further claimed that he had become unemployable and without her financial support would be destitute and paying rent has become impossible. So this is a bit insane to me because she had to go, Mary J. Blige had to go on a tour to pay this alimony. So is this like, I mean, what are common things that people that is similar to that regular people go through?
Well, I mean, this stuff happens a lot because alimony, it's based on your income. So when they make an alimony order and it's based on whatever you're earning, you have to keep earning that or you can't pay it. So, you know, unfortunately, when you have an alimony obligation, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to pass up that tour. Oh, I'm going to take a break or, I'm not going to take that job because you're under court order to pay. So you have to take that job because you have to pay that amount. And you don't get the option to say, I just don't feel like working.
Wow. Okay. So it could have been like it's like it might be a special like tour. But I've noticed Vegas has become like a destination for concerts. Like Bruno Mars, Katy Perry. So good thing is they don't have to go on tour as much anymore because I think they come the audience comes to them in like those residencies. So I don't know how this
Yeah.
applies to any divorce topic, but I thought that was
Well,
interesting.
I mean, it's in every divorce, you don't have the option to say, I don't feel like working right now, or I feel like taking a break because you have someone depending on you that you're required to pay. Um, it's the same if you're married too. You probably can't just say, I'm not going to do this because you got to pay your bills. So you got to support your family. So I'm not sure it's actually all that different. But yeah, it frustrates people a lot because they want to do what they want to do, but they're under court order to pay certain amounts of money, so they have to make sure they make enough money to pay that.
All right, our next topic, it's a cryptocurrency topic. This is coming up more and more. New York Times has an article dividing the family's Bitcoin stash has become a major source of contention in divorce cases. So divorcing couples fight over the kids, the house, and now crypto. The divorce dragged on. So this is about David Yafe Bellany, who covers crypto and fintech. So he combed through more than 600 pages for legal findings for his article. So the divorce dragged on for 8 years, almost as long as the marriage. The wealthy San Francisco couple sparred over child support, the profits from the sale of the husband's software, and the fate of the $3.6 million home. But the most consequential court battle between Eric and Francis D'Souza concerned a bitter dispute over millions of dollars in missing Bitcoin. So Mr. D'Souza, a tech executive, had bought over 1,000 Bitcoin before he separated from his wife in 2013, and then lost half the funds when a prominent crypto exchange collapsed. After 3 years of litigation, the San Francisco Appeals Court ruled in 2020 that D'Souza had failed to properly disclose some elements in his cryptocurrency investments, which had exploded in value. The court ordered him to give D'Souza more than $6 million of his remaining Bitcoin. In legal circles, the D'Souza's case has become known as perhaps the first major Bitcoin divorce. Such marital disputes are increasingly common as cryptocurrencies have gained wider acceptance. The division of the family stash has turned into a major source of contention, with estranged couples trading accusations of deception and financial mismanagement. An ugly divorce trend tends to generate arguments about virtually everything, but the difficulty of tracking and valuing cryptocurrency and digital assets traded on a decentralized network is creating new headaches. In many cases, divorce lawyers said spouses underreport their holdings or try to hide funds in online wallets that can be difficult to get into. So originally it was under the mattress, and then it was the bank account in the Cayman. Now it's crypto. So are you having these conversations during your the clients? Is this like a bigger thing, or is this common? Because I think the world's kind of moving towards crypto.
Yeah, no, this is coming up a lot now because crypto is a big thing and it's hard to value and there's no records and it's hard to prove. So, it is becoming a big thing. And I have one case right now where it's a big challenge and one party wants all this information about the cryptocurrency and it's hard to find it and to get it to them. So, I think this is going to be the new, like, they're hiding money in crypto kind of argument is going to be the new big thing.
So the whole, I guess, problems coming up are it's not like a bank account. Like, oh yeah, you could probably get a subpoena or something where, oh, here's these bank accounts under my name, and then you would, okay, this is how you do it if I try to hide it. But this thing's kind of like, there's no precedent. I mean, this is the only precedent like we've seen in these dealings. So I guess it's kind of, it's like an evolving thing as we go.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And there isn't much like legal precedent for it yet. It's like not something that comes up a lot. So it's starting to come up now. So now this is going to be the new big thing.
Oh man, wait till the NFTs come up. I'm kind of like playing around with it. From what I know, it's like an NFT is like a one of a kind minted JPEG, which is still a lot of I don't know, I'm skeptical still, but I imagine that's even going to be worse or maybe better. It's like one unit where this is all over the place. So to be continued. We'll find
Yeah.
out more information on that.
It's also going to be difficult. Anything that's hard to trace or prove in a divorce causes problems.
All right, so let's put pause on that. Put a pause, and then we'll come back to it later and see if we can drive you even more nuts. Okay, here we go. New York Post. This article comes from NewYorkPost.com. How getting divorced can make you sick and even lead to early death. Huh. So a condition called broken heart syndrome can leave one sick after a relationship ends and even be deadly, according to a new book. So Frances Williams was naive about heartbreak before her husband walked out on their 25-year marriage in 2017, though the schism had started 2 years earlier when she discovered a compromising email to another woman. Nothing could prepare for the physical toll of his departure. At first, she felt both exhausted and agitated, like I was plugged into a facility electrical socket, writes Williams in her book, Heartbreak, A Personal and Scientific Journey. Sleeplessness, heart palpitations, brain fog, and eye twitches soon followed. In between shuttling her two children to their father's new home a few blocks away and visiting with lawyers and financial planners, she lost 20 pounds in 5 months, dropping to 105 pounds. Still, by comparison, the divorce was relatively amicable. They hired a mediator and the terms were drawn up within a year. A few months after their initial separation, a routine checkup with doctors led to some surprising news. Her blood sugar spiked. She was suffering not only from depression, anxiety, but also from the undiagnosed type 1 diabetes, a progressive autoimmune disease that typically strikes in childhood. Williams had just turned 50 and she was flabbergasted. Diabetes didn't run her family. An award-winning science writer, she started to wonder, could the stress of the breakup have caused these symptoms? Was there such a thing as divorce diabetes? So what do you think, like, of this whole thing?
I mean, I think anytime you have a lot of stress in your life, absolutely it affects your body. I think divorce is one thing that can absolutely do that. I mean, many other things can as well. That's not the only thing, but um, I definitely think that it's highly likely that the stress you go through in a divorce would be able to cause those kind of physical changes that would negatively affect you.
You know, here's some stats here. I kind of ran into. So in this article, it said recent studies show that around 40% of all marriages end in divorce. So the divorce rate has fallen since its height in 1981. Psychologists still rank marriage breakup as one of the top stressful and consequential life experiences we have, just below death of a loved one. So divorcees are 23% more likely to die younger than those in marriages, according to 2011 analysis of 6.5 people in 11 countries. It's considered a costly life event, up there with smoking. A South Carolina study adds to the pile of disconcerting data of 1,300 people studied over 40 years. The divorce are 57% more likely to die than their still married counterparts. Wow.
I mean, again, it's hard to say. I mean, yes, that makes sense because of the stress and what you go through, but there's other correlations too. You can't just assume it's only it's only because of divorce. There there could be, if it was a true scientific study, there could be other things like people that get divorced are more likely to not have somebody at the home to notice if something seems off, and therefore they catch diseases later. And that's why the death rate's higher. So, without a full-on scientific closed study, it's hard to know, if it's divorce causing it or just some factor related to maybe living alone or something like that.
So that just continues our studies of divorce on our show, on our podcast. So I don't know, it's interesting just to have some objective numbers, just to see what you think. There's no written thing. Yeah, there's no like specific number, and it all varies, right? Between countries, between states, between anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into the part of the show where we ask Emily anything, where people who are going through their divorce journey, whether they're new, whether they're having trouble with child support, with dividing assets. We ask Emily some advice and see what comes out. All right, the first one here. So this is it looks like there's a happy ending to this divorce. So yesterday I finally signed the settlement agreement. I've been at my divorce for a few years, my own divorce. My divorce has taught me a lot, and I've tried to help others with my experience. My divorce took 5 years, 4 months, and 15 days to complete. It is honestly one of the most effed up situations you could imagine. Its costs were staggeringly high, but now I'm free. I can officially call her my ex. I really wanted to thank people who've expressed their thoughts in this community. I'm not leaving, but I thought that I'd thank people for the participation and continue it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they didn't really give a lot of details of, what was so awful, but people always say this has got to be like the most messed up case you've seen. And I'm like, no, I've actually seen more messed up than that. But, your community is important, and it's important to have people around to help you through it and to help deal with the stress. And I think sometimes people are just venting, and nowadays, instead of just calling up your friends and venting, we do it online. That's just our culture now. So one of the Super Bowl commercials was like, I don't know if you saw it. It was so fun. I thought it was so funny. It was the one where they were saying, like, I think it was for Morgan Stanley, and they were saying, like, and it was little babies giving financial advice, and they were like, people are taking advice from memes, like this is horrible. And it's like, that's our society now. Everything is on the internet, so people vent on the internet, and that's okay if that helps, great.
I love meme advice. Just get to the point, and like people put the good ones. People actually put like a lot of effort into it, and you're like, huh? How did they put that thing together? It must have taken a lot of time to find that perfect
I know,
picture.
right?
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm into
A
it.
good
I'm
meme
into
is
them.
really funny.
All right, let's get into a Valentine's Day one. So this one has to do with mental health. So when I think of my life last year, I remember I wasn't happy. I didn't trust my husband. He said he was working, but the math didn't seem to make sense. I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't a terrible wife. And I was and still am very much goal oriented, but my goals caused resentment on him. While the lack of trust in him ensued, what it did for me than anything was that he never had my back. I fought battles alone while I pushed him to be his best self and finish school, go for the promotion, eat better, take pride in his appearance. take care of himself, go to the doctor. I never got any of that energy back, and it broke me the amount of time and energy that I invested in him, that I needed that too. While I was being made to feel crazy and making excuses for his nasty habits, he hid food, debt, and the lies that he could no longer hide. He ran. All the time I was secretly hoping that he would come back, a changed man for the 7th time. He borrowed money from my brother and his family, lying to them, saying that he needed it for me. Found out this past weekend he needed it for his ex-wife. I was a scapegoat once again. It's bad enough for his family. His family is racist, so I'm labeled lazy and a gold digger. I helped him get out of his debt, so I thought it's okay though. So I got nothing last Valentine's Day. Didn't remember like so many things this year. I'm not angry that I don't have anyone. I'm disappointed that once again I settled for someone who didn't deserve it. So this Valentine's Day, I've decided to love myself, so I could be my best for myself, and I hope that you do too. Give yourself that bath and buy yourself those flowers. Get dressed up and make a nice meal for yourself.
Oh, I like that. I think that's a nice message. You have to remember that, you may do all those things for somebody, but they may not appreciate it. And if they didn't ask for it, like they didn't necessarily want all those things done, then they're not going to appreciate it. And they're going to look at it like you're trying to control them or change them. So I think it's important to realize when you're doing things that you think are helping somebody, you have to make sure that, that those are things that that person wants and that they value. Because if they don't, you're really just doing it for yourself. And then you feel slighted, like you're not getting a return on your investment.
All right. For our last post of the day, we get a getting started one. So if they have a question about the home, my wife and I were married 9 years. She had an affair, and she started an extremely messy divorce. She has moved out and now wants all the money she can get. I love where I live and the house we own. My question is, we bought our home for $300,000 5 years ago. I just got it appraised to remove her from the mortgage, so it came out to $500,000. My wife, because of the market we live in, believes the house is worth $540,000. My lender will not lend to the $540,000 amount because of the appraisal. I also don't want to pay her because of how much she feels the house is worth. Can I be forced to sell the home or forced to pay her at a higher amount because of the market and how she feels? I think that's a financial advisor question, but
Yeah,
maybe give us a
answer it.
little clues. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Well, I can answer the legal part. So in California, if you can't agree on the price of a home or how to divide it, the court will probably just sell it because the court cannot force you to accept, a value that you don't think the house is worth. And the true value can only be told by the market. So if you guys can't agree, it's probably going to get sold. So if you really want to keep it, the best thing to do is find a way to come to an agreement.
All right, so there we go. If you have a house, I don't know, California is I don't know how people afford houses here now. So
It's impossible. It's impossible. That's why it's hard for a lot of people to understand, like, why do I have to sell my house in the divorce? I'm never going to be able to rent for the same price as my mortgage, and I'm never going to be able to buy anything else. And it's true. So it's really stressful.
all right, until we figure out how to get a solution for that problem, we will see you all next week on the Modern Divorce podcast. So see you next week. All right, bye.